Are you interested in real estate investing but not quite sure where to get started? Do you want to get the know-hows on creating ongoing passive income using the buy and hold strategy? Hi, I'm Janice Bowles, licensed realtor and co-founder of B Premier Ventures, a real estate development and consulting firm where we buy and beautify distressed real estate, renovate it, and resell for profit. With over 15 years of investing experience, B Premier has extensive knowledge in rural land development, fix and flips, and rental acquisitions. B Premier's current portfolio consists of properties within Florida and Virginia. Our firm's services includes investor project consulting, project management, and group coaching. For more information, visit our website at bpremierventures.com and schedule a complimentary discovery session or subscribe to our email list. It's free. Follow me on Instagram at Janice Bowles for additional real estate investing tips. B Premier Ventures, we buy and beautify.
Welcome to today's episode of Let's Do It Talk Show. It's me, your girl, Ladrine Howard Peterson, the CEO and founder of Do It, delivering on ideas and thoughts. And you know what I do in a nutshell, right? I help to turn dreamers into doers. And I do it from two aspects. I do it from the aspect of career development, resume writing, interview preparation. You have an issue on your job? Yeah, I'm your girl. Then I also do it from the aspect of business. You're looking to start a business. You have some ideas and thoughts, don't know how to bring them into fruition. You have a business and you're looking for marketing strategies. All things HR, all things business. I am your girl. Here at the Let's Do It Talk Show, we were primarily created for entrepreneurs. However, we quickly realized that entrepreneurs are a whole person. So we focus on faith, finances, the future, and we focus on family and relationships. So today is the fourth Monday and it's all about family, but we are keying in on relationships in specific. So we have an amazing show for you. So I know a lot of you have been chiming in and tapping into on Facebook and also on Instagram. But yep, you got it. The title is Dating, Mating, and Relating. Dating, mating, and relating. So we're going to go into and talk a little bit. The whole post that we did about the trophy wife, the hustler's wife, we're going to dig into that on the second component of it. But y'all know what I do, right? So here I always share with you how my week went and how my weekend went. So it was a lot of things that went on this week that were very emotional. So just want to go into talking about some of the fun things, and then we'll talk about some of the more serious things. So one thing I got to do, my girlfriend Tina Hunter, congratulations to her. She had her 4th annual Fearless Me conference. It was wonderful. It was 2 days this time. Wonderful lineup of speakers, and I have been blessed to attend every year, and y'all know me, right? So the flyer, the poster, the picture that you see, I always win, right? So that's the running thing among me and my friends, raffles, contests, whatever it is, I'm always like the winner. So this time it was the person who made the most words out of Fearless Me. Y'all know I was a spelling bee champ, so that was like butter. But congratulations to Tina as well as her daughter Gabby for doing a wonderful and a great job. Next up, so y'all know me and my cooking thing. So prior to COVID-19, I had no skills whatsoever in the kitchen at all. I mean, like, I didn't have salt and pepper in my cabinet. True story. So y'all know, like over time, different people have been helping me out. I have several different teachers who have been helping me and giving me cooking lessons. So been doing my thing. So this week, so last week y'all know I started with my crock pot. This week chime right on into it. So y'all see the delicious food that is being posted, but I cooked beef stew for the first time. So me and my crock pot got a thing going on. So I just tossed everything in there, cut it all up real good. Potatoes, carrots, thyme, and I always use fresh thyme and rosemary and sage, and I just put so many different seasons in there. And now that I have the taste buds and I know how it tastes, I rock and roll with that. So that was great. But into some more serious things, like last week was really one of those trying weeks for me. It was almost as if every day a loved one or a close family friend or a friend of a close friend hospitalized, death, all of those things. So it was very emotional for me. And I talk about my emotions and how I have challenges dealing with death and sickness. So last week was very tough, but staying busy and working real hard really helped me. So first I want to give a sincere condolences and shout out to my Waller Place family, and rest in peace, twin Kevin, also known as Bigum. I didn't even make it into the funeral. It was so many people. I mean, like just blocks and blocks and all around the corner. But that just shows a tribute to how great of a person that he was. So I grew up with him way since I was a little kid in elementary school. They lived above us, and it's like our families were like family. So big, huge loss, but send all my condolences to the Hawkins and Butler family. And then also, it just didn't stop from there. From personal, we also had life, worldly, and just things that are going on. So first, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and y'all know they call her the notorious RBG. So, but huge loss to the Supreme Court Justice. She represented women very well, stood up for all the rights that needed to be to be fought. But huge loss, and of course now in the position where we are, and them quickly trying to make a replacement for her to fill that seat. All political and things go on, but I digress. I will not get into that. And last but certainly not least, Breonna Taylor. So I think that this thing shook. I know for sure in the Black community, but I'm just assured that some of our white community is impacted by this at all. It's almost as a part of us knew what the verdict was going to be, but still couldn't believe it when it came about. All of the post messages that had been displayed, all of the tributes that had been made to her, just a tremendous blessing. And then one part of it you may not see because I'm talking over is how the video and the poem was done, and they went back and did a flashback of a lot of people who had gotten killed. Not everyone, because it's too many to name. So I just want to definitely send my condolences out to that, and just tell everyone, like, you have to understand, like, that's why it's so critical and so important to vote, not only for the president, for all of the other positions, and also in your local community. Because as you see the results from this issue, it was basically around the laws that were put in place. And of course, we can go into like the different aspects of it where we have feelings of they should have looked at it from this aspect. But I can tell you the saddest part of everything that like really crushed my heart is the post where they had where they talked about the officer, that he didn't get like locked up or convicted for the bullet that hit her. He got locked up for the bullet that missed her. So it was basically the bullet that went into the wall and the impact of the other person. So that is a sad thing. So all of the millions of dollars that her mom and her family got, that does not equate to the value of her life, nor does it do so for justice. So everybody stay prayed up, keep your eyes open, and make sure that you vote. It is critical, very critical. And just be aware and cognizant of everything that's going on. You see all of the different clippings in the news about people being afraid and coming into encounters when they're getting arrested. Whether it was the mom where her son got pulled over and he quickly went in front of his house and hopped out to his mom. And while some of those things, as the police are looking at it, that's not what you're supposed to do. Understanding that, but you have to also understand that we're afraid for our lives. So I've been really looking at it. Y'all know I'm unbiased. I've been looking at it from both sides of the story, and it's just not cool. It's just not cool. So just stay prayed up. Be very vigilant of all of your moves and all of your actions that you take, but make sure that you make your voice known and make your voice heard. Go to the poll, reach out to other people, and take somebody with you. So that's my spiel, and that's my two piece. So we have some guests today, and we have our contributing hosts. So we're going to move on and get into it. So first up, always a pleasure and always fun to have Coach Neek on the show. She comes every fourth Monday. And you already know she has a message, and she's all the way in NYC. NYC represents the heart, so she brings love, but she brings the straightness. So, hey, Neek, can you give them a little bit of information about you and tell them who you are?
So I am Neek. You know me as Neek, but I'm Shanika, and I'm the owner and founder of the Help Me Club. So I'm a certified matchmaker and certified mindful life and relationship coach. So I match singles together, also faith-based, and I also coach men and women on business and just how to really go out after the life that you want using law of attraction methods and frequency and vibration.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And then we also have Miss Peaches. So Miss Peaches has a powerful story. We're actually in a Facebook group together where we talk a lot of trash, we talk a lot of facts and other things, but this was one of the more serious ones where she pretty much was very transparent in talking about her story. So we're going to go into your deep story later on, but just give an intro and tell everybody who you are.
Well, hello, I'm Peaches, 40-year-old single mom of 3, been divorced for the last 3 years, and my story is just about the comeback, the come up, the glow up.
Okay.
The fact that I had to go through these things in order to grow through these things. I didn't think it could be done, and it can be done because I'm living proof.
Okay, I like that. You had to go through it to grow through it. All right, I like that. So, as I mentioned before, the title of our show is Dating, Mating, and Relating. So, we're going to go through these various topics, and we're going to start off with Coach Neek. So, we have been passing information, and it was so great how your story, Miss Peaches, and you, Neek, the information that you sent over, they tied and unified right together. Oh, so this is going to be a juicy topic. So we're going to jump right into it. So the first one is the law of attraction and frequency. So for me, the beginning part of it is the attraction. So for those of you who have been watching the show, you know that we frequently do women versus women, the friendly battles, and we'll talk about different topics. So one of the things that we talked about was attractiveness in very different ways. Of course, that eye candy looking on both sides of it, but other things that were attracted to us. So it's almost like a continuation of that, but then the frequency. Rarely do we go in and talk about the frequency of things. So that's going to be the juicy piece. So Neek, take it away.
So, I ready to explain correlates to what you just said, because I don't know if it's the same thing. But I was introduced to the concept of law of attraction when God had to sit me out, right? So last year I had a surgery, so I couldn't walk. Like my kids had to drag me around. My kid's father, we're not together, but he had to come over and stay with me for a few months to take care of me. And you have a lot of time to think. And I'm a thinker anyway. I enjoy being alone. I enjoy being with people, but I enjoy being alone. So one of the shows we watched, let's watch a movie, was The Secret. Now I had already heard about The Secret, but I never watched it.
Okay.
It was an optimal opportunity for me to watch it. I can't do anything else. And when I watched it the first time, it was really inspiring. Like I felt it. It was just a connection for me. And I remember one of the first exercises that I did was to establish a goal, and just be very clear about the goal. And this particular goal was, I wanted to make $20,000 by the month of October.
Okay.
Now this was the first time I ever even practiced it. And I wrote it down. By September 3rd, I had a bank deposit in my account for $28,244.62. Now I had only put in my mind that I wanted $20,000, right, to be deposited specifically. I left that part out.
Okay.
In my account by October. So one of the things with the law of attraction is, you ask for something and you have no idea how it's going to get to you. You just know that you asked for it.
Yep.
So what happens is, you may get it, you may not, depending on how much I want to say energy you put behind the request. And the request, it could have came in at $19,262.33. It could be higher or it could be lower. So that was like my first experience with it, and for whatever reason, I guess that wasn't sufficient enough for me, right? Whole deposit of $28,000, right? So I got busy with life, and other things happened. Now here's the other part of law of attraction. It requires an extreme level of focus. So it's not something that you can do and kind of play with. So a lot of times I'll get clients and they say, okay, well, I have a goal, or there's something that I want to do. And when I sit down with them, there's no clarity. There's no focus. You have to sit down. You have to put in the work. You have to journal. You have to believe that what you ask for is going to come. See, because the universe, and I don't want people to think that I don't believe in God, because God is the creator of the universe. So when I say the
absolutely,
universe, don't think that I'm talking about something different, because I'm still faith-based. But when you put something out there, it doesn't know whether or not the request is negative or positive. So what happens is, whatever you put to the forefront of your mind, which sometimes can be chronic negative thoughts, and we'll relate this to relationships, right? Because that's what we're talking about. A lot of people will attract the same kind of relationship. One, because convictions and beliefs are some of the hardest things to remove.
Totally agree.
From mindfulness. So if you can control your mind, you can, in your thoughts, you can control your life, and it can go literally in any direction you want it to go in. So people always ask me, well, how do you do it? So I've broken it down into about 5 sessions.
Okay.
Where we'll establish the goal. And, you have to remember that coaching is not counseling. So I don't dig back into what happened to you when you were 5. Because coaching is really you deciding what you want for your life and how you're going to go about getting it. And a lot of times people need a coach because they need a person to hold them accountable for the specific time frame. And have you done this, or have you done that? But a lot of times, the real thing that keeps you from ever manifesting is your chronic negative thoughts. So if you can train yourself to, if a thought comes, reject it as it comes, you'll find that you will vibrate at a higher frequency. Because when you can feel, I don't know how many people are connected to themselves, but I have mornings where I wake up and I'm like, you need to go back to sleep and wake up again in 5 minutes because you're off. And it's like, it seems so simple once you start to practice it, to say, I'm waking up today, I don't feel good,
right,
but we're gonna turn this around. Do you know how many people cannot do that? A lot of people can't do it.
Yeah.
So when you vibrate at a lower level, you block any and all creativity, right? Because if you say you want to be a millionaire, first of all, you don't become a millionaire by just you waking up and you have a job as a millionaire.
Right.
It starts with an idea. So if you're vibrating too low, nothing can get in. If you say I want a relationship, I want to be, by New Year's, I want to be in a relationship. But if everything else is going wrong with you, you're vibrating too low. You know, it's like I'll tell somebody, look, I'm ready to be in a relationship. I'm going to be in one in 2 weeks. It's what you put behind it. Because the thing that we focus on is the thing that appears. If you say, I'm going to get into another relationship, and I know all men cheat, so, as long as he's willing to have a conversation with me and be honest with me, then, it's fine. And I said, now what? Say what now?
Right.
I need to know what's going on here. So it's just your thinking.
Yeah. And also a part of it, definitely feel that it's your thinking, but also your energy. Your energy and how you move about and your intentional steps that you make. So if you say, I want to be in a relationship, right? You're going to, I'm not saying change the person of who you are, but you're going to be mindful of the different things that you do. Like, say, for example, and I'm not saying just do this to get a man or a woman. You should do it for yourself also. However, but sometimes those little runs to the store, you might be more aware of your appearance and the things that you're doing because you are trying to attract things. So it's a whole it's a whole different a level of various components that play into this. So your mindset is critical. Your mindset is critical in any and everything that you do. So when you talk about the law of attraction of the things that you are trying to have to come your way and the level of the frequency, it's all about, like for me, doing things intentionally. And I try to live my life in every move that I make. Not saying that everything is scripted out, but those who know me know that I write a lot and I have a lot of like planning I do. But of course, ultimately, whatever it is that the will of God, that the will that God has on my life. But my thing that I have been praying to in terms of the attractiveness and talk about frequency is that everything that I pray, my prayer is that my wants, my desires, and the things that I do, that they align to His, so that piece is already taken care of. But the attractiveness and your mindset and your thinking, those are definitely on point, and your energy, because it can just take a matter of you walking and just being happy and polite and speaking to people, and you will be noted, just from the energy that you get off when you're talking to individuals. If you are really engaged and keen on what they're saying and paying attention to them, they're gonna reciprocate from that, versus like if you're doing something else and halfway paying attention to them, they pay attention to that as well. So all of the things that you do, the way that you act, the way that you carry yourself, all of those things tie into what you said. So that's very good points in terms of the points that you laid out. Yeah. So Peaches, you can chime in if you want to. We're gonna transition. If you have anything to say, you can say so before we transition over to the next one, which is attraction triggers. And Nick, I purposely left off the last ending of it so that we can go into talking about different levels of that. But Miss Peaches, did you have anything to chime in on that?
The one thing I will say about your energy, sometimes when you vibrate so high, and I notice, I can say personally for myself, I tend to attract all kind of people towards me. So it's like, in a way, it's like a double-edged sword because I'm vibrating so high.
Mm.
It's like I'm here, but sometimes what you attract, people feel that energy, and if you
Yeah.
let them, they'll try to drain you of it. So I'm very protective of my energy, and I don't want to come off as I'm so high up here that you can't get to me, but at the same token, I'll never be taken back down here again.
Yeah, and another thing in terms of you talking about the high frequency in terms of attractiveness. So if you take it like a magnet, right? A magnet, and as much space as you have, anything connects on and ties onto a magnet. So that's another thing with your energy. Like we talked before at the beginning of the show, and I am a true introvert. And it's hard for many people to believe it because I know I magnetize like people, like if I'm speaking or just if I'm somewhere at an event and I get into my little whole mode. Now sometimes I'm quiet, cut in the cut in the corner. But if I get into that and dove into a conversation and it's something interesting, or either the spirit moves me to go over and talk to somebody, this is how I'm talking. So sometimes I try to calm myself down, but it's very important because my closest friends know that when I speak, all of the people at the end, I'm good if one person come over and I make that impact. When it's so many different people, it can cause a level of anxiety in terms of that. And a lot of people like find it hard to believe, but it is the truth. It's the whole attractiveness. It's a serious thing. So you can look at the frequency in various ways of saying up here and somebody think they can't reach you, but it's also the frequency in the level and the numbers of how much you are, like people just see you and you just stand out for various reasons. Just as if you're walking and you see someone, it might be that they have on a beautiful green shirt. I said green because that's my color, but that will normally catch my eye and I'm like, oh, that's cute, or anything about somebody. So it's so many different things in terms of that nature. So very good point. Very good thought. Very good topic. Very good things to think about as well. So let's move on and talk about some attraction triggers. So Nick, yeah. So I know in terms of you as a coach and a matchmaker, you come across so many various people. And one part, I know that you have a lot of high profile clients, a lot of you have professional clients, sports, athletic, all different type of people that you come into. So I know you can't talk about any one given person's profile because of the confidentiality, but in a nutshell, talk to us about your thoughts and what you have seen in terms of attraction triggers.
So I think that once you hit me, um, not that you lose some of the things that you request or require in a mate. People are very manufactured with their requests,
Right.
and they can be very specific. But I do find a lot of people, they just want help. So sometimes they'll tell me, I don't really care what they look like. At this point,
Mm.
I just want to find somebody
Mm.
that I can connect with. Now
Wow.
they say that until I send the picture over.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right? Because we like what we like.
Right.
So I mean, I've even had a client tell me that she would prefer that whoever I matched her with had done some therapy,
Oh.
right? Because she believed that would give him more emotional intelligence. First of all, you don't need to do therapy to get
Right.
emotional
Right.
intelligence. But again, what we believe is what we believe, our convictions and beliefs. So
Yeah.
if therapy worked for her, she believes that therapy makes a candidate a better match for her. So that I had to tell her, I don't think that's necessary. Um, but so a lot of things with women too, and this is something that I try to kind of tread lightly on. I'm tired of hearing I am independent. Okay? independent. Unless you're
Okay.
in the shelter, you are taking care of yourself or earning a living in some kind of way.
Right.
So you have to be careful when you say that to a man, like, well, I'm independent and I need you to understand that. Because really what that translates to is I'm going to give you a hard time because, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you a hard time because I'm going to do what I want to do and my accolades, have earned me the authority and permission to act a fool. And, just really, it's really not necessary. And I'm like, why don't we use more attractive adjectives to describe ourselves?
Okay. I can go with that. So, it is funny hearing you break it down and enunciate your words as you say so. Because we know, like, we went through a phase where it had transitioned from, and we'll go back we're going to dig deep into the trophy wife, the hustler's wife, and all of that. But it's like a transition, and even from our grandparents and even our parents, where they were kept and they were housewives. So it was like, and the whole Waiting to Excel movie kind of like messed people up too. Like, I will never be caught. But the thing is, that was the word, that was definitely the adjective that was there, to kind of like represent women independence and being able to take care of themselves. And it was more like, I don't necessarily need a man to buy me this, that I can afford to buy me this on my own. So that was a softer way to put it, but things definitely have transitioned, and I can't say that I disagree with you that some uh, males may perceive the definition of independence as that way. So on my honor, whatever the Girl Scout honor is, I will defray from using independence. And you're going to help us with some more adjectives. So let me know what they are and what I should be saying.
But I think in a way, it's not a
adjective, to describe your ladylikeness. Because let me tell you something. When a man meets you, they don't need you to tell them that. They size you up in the same manner
I like that.
we size them up. So I had a guy that I met over the summer, and we were at a party, and the androids take the best pictures. So I know he took my number under that premise, but whatever, okay? So I didn't hear from him, and he found me on Instagram, and like he was liking my stuff. So now I noticed him, and I reached out to him, and I'm like, hey, I didn't hear from you.
Right.
And I think he kind of went back and forth, and I was like, okay, he has somebody, which is fine, and I said it for him, and he said, I just didn't want to bring you in that, and I'm like, that's cool, and he said also I didn't get the understanding that would be something that would be okay with you. He said, because you seem nice. He said, but you also seem like you can get kind of mean. And I said, you know what? I will take that because I don't have men play with me. I mean, a lot of times they'll be honest because, like, I don't know what it is. I don't see myself. Everybody else does see me. So I don't know what it is that makes them think, let me leave that one alone. But there's something in some women that they'll try you.
Right.
So I'm always curious to know, like, well, what exactly was it? I was like, because I didn't share this information with my girl. But, but there's a fine line in being assertive.
Yeah.
And feminine, right? Because we operate in two different essences. We can operate either in our feminine essence or we can operate in a masculine essence. And when you operate in a masculine essence, you're going to have a hard time being with a masculine male.
So I agree with that. In terms of the conflicting roles and the feminine. However, do you think that you can not be feminine and proclaim independence?
Not be feminine and proclaim independence. You have to break that down for me.
So basically, I'm saying, like, if you are independent, if you're an independent woman and you claim to be an independent woman, on your own terms. I know you have some terms and some definitions that you made. So do you think that independent women are not feminine?
No, I think they are feminine.
Okay, so when you were saying that,
They're just assertive. They're more assertive, or as sometimes like with me, I get labeled as passive aggressive. But I'm quick. I'm going to tell you off bat. I don't need you, but I want or I would like to be like. And I had to go through my phase where I was on my K Michelle. I may not love them, but I love them all. And a lot of people couldn't handle that. And I was okay with that. But at the same token, I'm not before, not now, not ever. I will never water myself down because someone can't take me straight.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
the right one is going to meet me and they're going to be able to take me straight for who I am without me having to change.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that point. I was just trying to get the understanding and the clarity on when Coach was talking about the independent woman and talking about the feminine aspect of it. So I was just trying to get clarity on that because
It's an essence. So one thing I realized too is sometimes we can even be hybrids, and I don't think I've seen this in any textbook. So I may be making this term up, but we are attracted to our polarities.
yeah,
So one thing I realized, so I was kind of dating this guy he's alpha. He's definitely alpha.
okay,
But and he was like, physically strong. He was like a fighter. He was a earner. But then there were things that it put him in the feminine essence because he leaned on me for certain things. Like even certain things I would say, and he didn't have a problem saying, what does that mean? And he would say it often. So
okay,
sometimes we think that the man that we are with is completely alpha, is completely masculine. But they have times, just like we do,
yeah,
some of us, where we can slide back and forth from a feminine to a masculine essence.
yeah,
So I think we have to understand that no one person is the same.
yeah,
You have
absolutely,
deal with whoever you're with on that term. But even for myself, I was getting so annoyed with him. Like, can he plan something? Can he do something? And when I had a chance to really think about it, I said he has a dependency in certain things. So, a lot of times we think, no, that motherfucker, he understands what he's supposed to be doing. And no, it really is a comprehension.
Codependency.
Definitely agree with that. So we are going to shift gears. So Neek, any closing in terms of those two topics, and then also please provide them with your contact information.
No, so we definitely still taking clients for our matchmaking. We're actually hitting the start of busy season because people feel in their feelings around
Yeah.
the holidays. So you could definitely always fill out a registration form at thehelpmeclub.com. You can reach out to me on social media. We're also doing coaching because, like I said, one of the questions is people just want to know how to feel good on a daily basis.
Exactly.
And I'm not against medication and mental health counseling and things like that, but there are simple ways that you can shift your mood within a very short period of time. You just need to invest in yourself. And it is applicable to anything you want in your life in terms of attracting the relationship you want, the job you want, the business you want. It is applicable to just manifestation.
Definitely agree with that. And as always, thank you so much. So are you sticking around for the last topic?
I'm going to watch.
Okay. Yeah, I know you normally shift gears. So yeah, so we'll see you on Facebook. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick commercial, and then we're gonna jump right into the topic about trophy wife, hustler's wife, eye candy, dime piece, whatever you named it, whatever in your era that you called it. We're gonna talk about some of the pros and cons that come along with that. So we'll see you all after the commercial.
Are you interested in real estate investing but not quite sure where to get started? Do you want to get the know-hows on creating ongoing passive income using the buy and hold strategy? Hi, I'm Janice Bowles, licensed realtor and co-founder of B Premier Ventures, a real estate development and consulting firm where we buy and beautify distressed real estate, renovate it, and resell for profit. With over 15 years of investing experience, B Premier has extensive knowledge in rural land development, fix and flips, and rental acquisitions. B Premier's current portfolio consists of properties within Florida and Virginia. Our firm's services includes investor project consulting, project management, and group coaching. For more information, visit our website at bpremierventures.com and schedule a complimentary discovery session or subscribe to our email list. It's free. Follow me on Instagram at Janice Bowles for additional real estate investing tips. B Premier Ventures, we buy and beautify.
So welcome back, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for listening in. Share this live with your friends or anyone that you think need to hear it. Also, make sure that you are following us on social medias on all platforms. Let's Do It Talk Show. That's Facebook, Instagram, as well as our website page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All under the same name, Let's Do It Talk Show. So huge shout out to my folks who are on the line. Andre Watts, thanks for always chiming in. Cornelia, hey sis, I haven't seen you in a minute. Veronica, one of our regulars. Major, Jackie Bandy, Brenda Bailey, LaShawn Reese, and anybody else that's on the line. When I have it, I only can see my friends. I can't see who are not friends. So shout out to you all as well. So as I posted, we often look at people and think the grass is always greener on the other side. We often see the positive side of it, but rarely do we see the negative things that go along with it. So coming up, I grew up in Southeast DC, and I have openly shared some of my experiences throughout and have brought on some guests who grew up with me. So it's no stranger about the environment that I grew up in. And yes, there were hustlers there. There were women who were deemed as arm candy, eye candy, however you want to do it. And in other words, they were financially taken care of by a dude. So wanted to talk about that, and it's so funny how we got into this. So Miss Peaches is going to share her story, but it just so happened that I'm in a Facebook group with her, and she just one day openly shared about her situation, and I was like, oh, I have to have you on the show, and here we are. So I'm going to start off with you and let you give an overview of your story, and then we will go into it and dig into the pros and the cons, and you can talk through it, and some of them will fall out, but I sat there and I made a list about some of the things that I saw and I witnessed. I may or may not have gone through, wink, wink, but we're going to let you tell your story.
So, good evening. With me, I was kind of young, and I said, I'm never going to get married, not having any more kids. Happen to go visit a cousin. I'm on the block. I see this dude. He out there getting it. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the clothes.
Right.
I'm watching the knot. I'm looking. I'm like, oh, okay. So he comes. He asks for my number. Normally, I don't give out my number. But I said, let me give him my number, because if I took his, I wasn't going to call.
Right.
From the very first meeting, he said, you're going to be my wife. I'm like, oh, whatever. So a little bit of time went by, and he called right away within a few days. And he's like, let's go out. Let's go shopping. So he was like, is $3,000 enough? I'm like, oh, sure.
May I ask how old were you?
At the time, I was 29.
Okay.
29. Had just maybe, I want to say, not even 6 months before, had just called off a whole wedding. I called my wedding off 3 weeks before we were due to get married.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just wasn't, the universe said, this is not for you, this is not it. So, called it off, was done. I said, I'm going to do my thing, bumped into him. So, I'm like, okay, we're talking, and at first he was like, oh, I do this, I do that, but then the truth came out.
Okay.
How he made his money. He was a street pharmacist.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, I've been down that route before. I was trying to get away from it, but it keeps calling me back.
Right.
And I'm not going to hold you. I like nice things. I was one of them ones, $300, $400, $600 on a pair of shoes.
Okay.
At the time, I had a toddler and a little kid. They like to wear Burberry, so it costs. Now, I've always kept a job, always been gainful in my career, making good money. So I was able to do it on my own. But to have someone say, oh, here you go, just go out and blow a bag, I was all for it. So we started spending more time. And I said, well, I need to close off things with my ex. We're going to Atlantic City. He didn't like it, but I said, if you want to deal with me, you got to do it. I'm in Atlantic City with the ex. He drove from Washington, D.C. up to Atlantic City to the hotel I was at and said, I'm downstairs. Come downstairs.
Wow. And
I was like, oh, my gosh, this is real. So we get back. We get to talking. He, proposes. So he's still in the streets, kind of heavy. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. So let's say we're going to go get married.
Wow.
I said, but I need you to do something for me. If you want to marry me, I need you to try to go legit. Didn't have a problem with it.
He didn't.
I'm a mover and a shaker, and I can make stuff happen.
Okay.
So even with his background, we were able to get him a good paying government job.
Okay.
So we go get married. Said I wasn't going to have no more kids. I had a kid. Legally, we were a young black couple, under 31, making combined over $100,000 a year. Which is nothing to scoff at with us being so young. So I said, okay, it's fine. He gets to working. But I think when you're a hustler, you always have that hustler's mentality.
Yeah.
And yes, you were making good money. Yeah, you're making $6,000 a month. But once them taxes and real life situations come up and that health insurance come out, you miss that street money.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you really don't need it because I'm pulling 60 myself. The bills are taken care of. So I say, okay, no problem. Because I'm the wife, so I say, let me take care of home.
Right.
The clothes are washed, the house is clean, the kids are taken care of. You go out there and do your thing. So he started making a little bit more money out there on the streets. So
wait a minute. When you said go out there and do your own thing, this was after he was legit? He went back out? Okay. Or he never stopped?
No, he stopped for a hot second.
Okay.
But then it was like that fast money.
That mentality came back. Okay, got it. Following.
He's still working, but still out there.
Okay.
Which was, with me, it was like, okay, because I'm like, you're selling your tree. I can deal with that.
Okay.
No problem. However, I didn't realize what I was setting myself up for because it advanced from the tree into something else. And everybody knows you never supposed to get high on what you supply.
Oh yeah.
So once that started, that's when I literally want to say all hell broke loose, and my world as I knew it got flipped upside down. I'm going to take you back to August 26, 2011.
Okay.
I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm laying in the bed, and something just in my soul didn't sit right. So I'm calling. I'm not getting an answer. So finally, a few hours later, he calls, and there's so much ruckus going on, and I'm so heated. I'm not talking to him, so I slammed the phone. Of course, that's when you had the flip phone, so you just closed the phone.
Right.
So he kept calling back. So finally he called, and I'm like, what? And I heard a female's voice. And then I'm like, hello? And she was like, he's been trying to call you and tell you he's been shot. I'm like, huh? What? What you mean he's been shot? She was like, he's shot. And because with all the commotion. And then
Oh,
so
wow.
at that point, I'm listening to everything. And she's like, he's on the ground. We waiting for the ambulance to come. And I'm like, how many shots did he take? And she was like, we don't know. The guy emptied the clip into him. Now, normally when he goes out, he drives his car. But this time he took my car. August 26, 2011. DC officer, off-duty DC officer, Kenneth Furr, emptied his whole clip into my vehicle.
Wow.
I'm trying to find out what's going on. I'm panicking, so I'm like, where did they take him?
Right.
Trying to find out where he was shot. And I'm like, hey, I'm his wife. I need to know. And they're like, well, finally, we figure out he's at Washington Hospital Center.
Okay.
I get there, panic, stomach out to here, I'm waddling, and they're like, ma'am, we can't let you in to see him. He's under police custody. So at that point, I lost it. And I'm like, what is going on? At least I knew he was alive.
Right.
So we're going to fast forward to August 31st.
Okay.
I wasn't due until the end of September, beginning of October. I had our daughter early. She came over a month early. So she comes, he's still dealing with that. And I'm like, you need to leave these streets alone.
Right.
So for a few years, it was fine.
Okay.
Out of nowhere. One thing I've learned, a zebra does not change his stripes. And he went back out there, and I kept telling him, the only thing in these streets is a court case or a casket. You just barely dodged the casket.
Right.
I said, do you know how lucky you are to have gotten shot at point blank range?
Right.
Anybody else, and even the doctors told you, that bullet should have went through his head.
Right.
But it grazed his head. And I said, that's because the universe was trying to tell you something, but you didn't want to listen.
Okay.
So me, I had to be the good wife, support your husband, have his back.
So let me ask you this, and for the sake of time, so that we can dive into the pros and the cons. From this point to the point in which you divorce him. So fast forward with me quickly into how that happened and how you end up getting a divorce. And before the divorce, because he stalked you in Atlantic City pretty much, like before you got married. So I'm just trying to get the understanding of, at the point where you actually got a divorce, were there any threats? What was going on with that?
So from 2015 until 2017, I tried to get a divorce. I had to carry a restraining order in my purse.
Wow.
In my car. He was banned from my parents' house. He was banned from my job.
Wow.
He would call and say, oh, I saw you with this on. Sitting outside my job. So he gets into some legal trouble. He's facing 26 years. I said, you're going to go in. It's just a matter of how long. Fought me on the divorce. Fast forward. Finally. Now, he's been locked up for 2 years. You fighting me for a divorce. I got my divorce. Now,
On the grounds because he was locked up, so the law that goes along with the person. Okay.
and that's what worked in my favor.
Okay.
Even the restraining orders, none of that didn't work. They're telling me, you're going to shoot me, you're going to shoot my car, that I'm always his. No. So, but during that time, because of him messing up,
Right.
I got left with a huge bag that was not mine.
Okay. Okay.
So fast forward till today, it felt so good to be able to pull myself out of that hole that he put me in, that hole that he said I would never get out of.
Yeah.
Here it is. I had to start over. I left our home. I had to tell our kids, grab only what you need. While he was at work, I called my uncles and my brother, and I said, and I had to call my parents and say,
Wow.
I am in over my head, and I need to come home.
Wow. So the good thing is that you realized it, because a lot of people get stuck. And that was one of the things that I put down in terms of the negative side of it, the con. You get engaged in certain relationships and you get to being used to a certain standard of living that you can't sustain yourself. Or yours was different. You had a job, even though you probably couldn't afford like where you all were staying. But some people don't even work and don't have a job, and they feel like they are indebted, or that's the only way that they're going to be able to survive. So one of the things is being stuck. So I'm proud of you that you were able to be unstuck. So let's talk about some of the pros. You already have identified like the babies in Burberry and $600 shoes and having all of this money and everything at your exposure. So these are some of the things, some of the pros that come with the kept woman is being financially spoiled, not having to look at price tags when you go, receiving numerous gifts just because the day of the week is a Monday, and different things like that. So those are definitely some of the pros, and even you feel like you treasured, because it's like this person is put on a pedestal. She's to be wine and dine, and all you got to do is just sit pretty. You know what I mean? All you got to do is just sit pretty. So those are some of the pros that come along with it. And one of the things I talked about previously, I'm rereading A Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Soldier. So we know we got a trophy wife up in that book. But she went through some stuff. And also A Hustler's Wife by Nikki Turner. The whole series where they actually talk about things that they've seen and things that go on. And although Sister Soldier said it's not her life, but she really says that these are things that she saw in her street. So any more pros that you want to add on to that before we go into the cons?
Get to the cons.
Yeah, so let's jump into the cons.
What really made me leave was because I had, throughout the whole 10 years, I had never put my hands on him. And I
That's
got
good.
so fed up that I lost it.
Oh,
And
so it got violent.
Threatening. You're telling me I can't go here, I can't go there. You're taking my keys. So I pulled my head back and I three-pieced him.
Wow.
And I said, you're going to sit down and you're going to listen to me. And my biggest fear was my kids coming home. They were either going to find me dead, they were going to find him dead, or they were going to find both of us dead. Because I told him, I said, this gun is loaded and I will use it.
Oh,
and
wow.
And it's going to be a headshot only. And that's when I reached out to my parents and I said, I have to go because my kids need me.
So again, like applauding you from all of the situations that you know that you talked about in the space and the place, and having that a gun in your house and having that type of anger. That's a very dangerous situation. So being able to step up and pull yourself up out of that situation. It's a couple other things that came to my mind immediately. So a lot of times when somebody is out in the street, whether it be from jealousy, whether it be from a debt, a runner owing, or whatever it may be, it puts not only that person in danger, but it puts their family in danger also. Did you ever have a feeling where you feel like you or your family was in danger because of the lifestyle that your husband had?
When I had, at the time, she's 20 now, but at the time, my oldest was 13. And she came back to my room and she had this look of death on her face. And I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Mommy, there's about 13 police in the hallway and they had their guns pointed at me." So I hopped up out my bed and I go out there. They got the warrant and I'm like, "Look, he's not here. I told him he had to go. I don't know where he's at. He does not stay here." And that's what really lit a fire, because I was like, no child should have to go through that. And of course, the officers apologized, and I get it. And then that's when I found out it was so much more going on.
Okay.
And I was like, that's it. I gotta go.
Okay.
I gotta go because it's him or me.
All right. And so I already talked about people being jealous. Like, people are envy and jealous of like the things that they see that somebody has on. Don't know what's going on in the household, but if you are being spoiled, you coating this or you coating that, they're already making assumptions. And
I had already always told him that. I said, when a person sees that you have everything to lose,
right,
and they have nothing
right
to lose, so guess what? By him being feeble-minded, he allowed them to help him lose his car.
Yeah.
You lost your wife.
Yeah.
Your family.
Yeah.
Your career.
Yeah.
And lastly, he lost his freedom.
Yeah, and it goes like with a mindset. It definitely goes with the mindset and understanding and looking at the big picture of these things. So some people I know, they got out the game as millionaires, were able to transition into running their own business. Some got out the game working regular jobs, regular mojo. Some didn't make it out the game. Some are 6 feet under and some are in jail for almost life or have already done life. So it really takes a part where you have to look at the big picture of all these things. But one of the things I also listed was you lose your independence because you become dependent upon a man. But it sounds like your story was different because you talked about you always having a good job.
There was a little bit of codependency there.
Okay.
But I've always had the mindset of the shoe could change at any time. The table could turn. Be ready.
Yeah. That's very good. Very good point. Yeah.
But it came, and within him losing his freedom, I gained mine.
Yes.
As I shared with you, it took me 3 years to get my credit score.
Right.
Almost 800.
Right.
It felt so good a few weeks ago when I was able to say, here is $8,896 of my hard-earned dollars. I paid the car off that I bought as my divorce gift.
Blessing.
Everything that he said I could not have or I couldn't do, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because you didn't own me. Because see, the thing is, when you have a control of a person's mind, you control their body. But that's one control that I was not willing to relinquish. And that's why I'm here to tell people, you're not your circumstances. Don't be afraid to speak out, because it took me until it got to the point till I got here.
Right.
That I had to reach out for help. And I'm just thankful that I had a village to receive me, to help me through that time.
And that's a true blessing, because again, a lot of people do not have that, and they go through different struggles and different things. Your story different, and you went through some stuff, and so glad to see, like, your post like brightened up my day when you printed that, showed that receipt. Like, it's not like you didn't have a lot of money in the past, but it was like you did this, so it was like giving you your power back. And then the other thing is him like feeding into your mind, you will never be, you will never do, you will never be. And sometimes you that sinks into your mind and you start believing that. So when you overcome and you overpower, you do it on a number of different levels. It is proving a point to him, but more so importantly, that feeling of proving a point to yourself and being able to attain a credit score that most people like aspire to have and may never come across again in their lives. So a couple other things. So I'm gonna go down my list, and then you can close out with yours, and then we'll conclude with that. A couple other things, and everything. They're not your situation, but I was just thinking in general, friends and people that I've known. Infidelity. You become accustomed to someone being out all the time. They finding, whining, and doing everything, the same thing they're doing to you. They end up finding like a side chick who's not going to say anything, who wants to get some money, or however it ends up being. But you end up being.
Found a side dude.
Ooh, okay. Okay, I can't come over that one, but okay. And then in some cases you end up where you're broke. Like you had a job, but some people don't have a job, living in the house. And even if he left and you stayed, I know somebody who they were millionaires. Husband left and they had stuff, but they couldn't afford to pay it. They had to end up selling everything off. Luckily, she got unstuck and was able to sell some things, but she knew that she could not afford to live in that house anymore. Some people stay there and just end up getting put out because they get depressed and their pride gets into the way. The other thing, quality time. Did you have any issues with quality time and family time?
And no, and that's the thing. I had my time.
Okay.
And I allowed him to have his time because my thing is, yes, we are one, but I'm still a separate person. So it was like it was a well balanced act.
So that was
I ignored some red flags in the beginning.
Right. And a lot of people ignore a lot of the red flags. Actually, I'm gonna post my pastor's sermon. He's doing a series on entanglement. And he's talking about how to love yourself as an individual. And he talked about all of the red flags that was missed. But in terms of that, you get caught up in love and you will miss the red flags. Or you don't necessarily miss them. You overlook them and you water them down to be things that you see it clearly and you know what's going on. And you try to trick yourself.
It literally hits you in your face. And it knocks the wind out of you.
Yeah.
I had the wind knocked out of me.
Yeah. Well,
and I got my breath back.
I'm so glad that that you are still standing and standing very well. I'm glad that you even superseded like your thought and your plan in terms of paying off your car, which is a tremendous goal that you have accomplished. And I'm thankful that you are healthy. With all of the things that you go through, it impacts you. Your children see what you're going on, and mentally, it can mess someone up. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care that you can have the best of the job. You can be killing it in the game and doing your own thing. Any piece of negativity that you have within your circle, it will prevent you from growing and from sowing to that level, which you can definitely attain.
Tell you this, and granted, with my kids, and I would never wish this on nobody, but it feels good that I don't have to sleep with my Glock under my pillow anymore.
Yeah, you was real gangster with yours, but it's real life. It's real life, and some people won't. Oh, so yeah. So in closing, so great talking to you is good, but we got to end the show. So in closing, any last words that you want to share with our audience?
If you're in a bad situation, you don't have to be stuck there.
Yeah.
There's always a way out. Throughout all of this, I gained my voice. I gained my true independence. And I will say this, don't be afraid of your situation.
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody out there who has went through what you're going through, who's going what you're going through, or they're scared. Never be afraid. Reach out.
Yeah. That's very good. Appreciate it. The only thing I'll add to that is Beyonce's song, Listen. Listen to Listen. Listen goes through like the whole scenario of helping you to find your own voice. And also don't ignore the red flags. Don't ever feel like you're stuck and that you're in it too far. There's always a way out, even if you have to start all over again from rock bottom. It will be like the price of peace. My God, but the price of peace is no dollar amount or anything that can relate to that. So thank you so much, Ms. Peaches, for being on the show. Thank you so much, Neek, for being on the show. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Next week is the start all over from the beginning. So it will be the first Monday of the month. And we will be talking about wholeness. So we will be talking about how so many people have dreams and goals and different things that they want to do, but for one reason or another, they are holding it back. And some of you may have read the book by Touré Roberts, Sarah Jakes Roberts' husband. We're going to dive into that, and I'm going to have a special guest with me, Reverend Irene Smith. But I participated in that Bible study, and it was like regular everyday stuff, so many aha moments in that class. But it is about your whole self and making yourself whole, living out your dreams, not being afraid of doing the things that you want to do, knowing that you have it in you. So thank you all again. Make sure you share. I will go back and read any comments that I didn't address on air. But thank you all so much, and I will see you all next week.